Hello, everybody. It is Vince Russo. I'm here with the Guns. This is the Gun Show. Welcome to the Gun Show. This is That's Color. This is the Vito Grasso Show. Vito, how you doing, my friend?
I am doing fine. Welcome, everybody, to Getting Color, another fabulous and another enticing episode with Vince Russo and Vito Grasso. And Vince, I know we got a lot to talk about today. You know, Vince, we were talking before about, development and what it takes to make it in the business. And I think that today's subjects, what we're going to talk about, will definitely cover growth in not only in wrestling, but in life itself.
Vito, can I tell you something? Let me cut you off right there, and I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to tell you why, bro, and then I'm going to let you pick it up. But I'll forget because I'll forget, bro. I had to address the school yesterday because we had a live show, and that's I said exactly what you just said. F wrestling. 20 years from now, 99.9% of you, wrestling will be in your rearview mirror. This is about life. This isn't about wrestling. This is about life. Bro, you and I didn't even talk beforehand. That's exactly what I said. So go ahead, pick it up, if you know.
You know, guys, and like wrestling, it's when you have opportunity and you have things to do, guys. I mean, I know everybody puts it first, but it's not the same as 20 or 30 or 40 years ago. It's a different era, and the brand of wrestling that people see today is not the old school technology and your old school psychology that people are used to when you used to watch wrestling on TV and see what it took. Now, can it go back to that? Maybe eventually if it has a wrestling revolution, but everybody thinks high spot. How many high spots can you do in the opening match so you have nothing to do at the end of the show? But then at the end of the day, when you know the ingredients, now I'm going to use myself as an example. I wrestled for all the major companies around the world. I wasn't the gift of gab. I wasn't political. I wasn't using my savvy to work my way in and talk. I did it with work and work ethic and heart and determination. And what it took was repetition. If you don't have repetition and a structured background to go forward with, and if you don't wrestle in a structure, you could be flipsy, flopsy, turvy and think you're doing all these great matches. But at the end of the day, what do you have? Just a bunch of high spots that don't make no sense. Now you talk about life. You could do all these high spots in life, but at the end of the day, you still got to get on that road. Okay, I want to get married. I want to have kids. I want to have family. I need job security. I need benefits. I got to pay my rent, pay my mortgage. Is wrestling going to do that? Doesn't do it for everybody. Doesn't do it for 99% of the people. It does it for a select few people who are gifted. Then there's a handful of people who you put in the Hogans, the Austins, the Cenas, the Rock, the Flairs. Those guys are extra special. But when you make it to the big leagues, you do have something. How far you go is up to you and what you can do and how your talent is, and they see it. They know if you got the it factor. They know if you don't got the it factor. But the one thing you got to have is heart, not just through wrestling, but life. And if you don't follow direction, guys, you're not going to make it in the world. And a lot of guys don't like direction. They don't like criticism, constructive criticism. And when you're looking at the vets who've been there and done it, and they say, kid, you don't know. Yeah, I do know. I'm going to do it. Kid, you're going to come back to me in 7 years and you're going to tell me I should have listened to you, which a number of people have already done. And if I had the opportunity to be an instructor, an agent, somebody in the back, I'm not talking about wrestling because I already have my accolades. I'm not looking for that hype. But what would get me really excited is if I had developed and help enhance guys' education in the wrestling business to where they're performing on what I learned and they see the vision I saw and put it into their own athletic ability. that would get me psyched. That would make me happy. If you have a writer like Vince Russo who's got a story, guys, remember, living the gimmick, acting out kayfabe, that still works today if you're willing to do it. But it depends on you, and everybody thinks I'm a pro wrestler. Well, your body don't look like one, your skin don't look like one, your teeth don't look like one, your work certainly don't look like one. So what are you doing? If you got to be in it, guys, you got to do the whole full Monty and do everything. It's not just about one thing. I'm a wrestler. I'm going to independent show. I'm going to work for $20. I'm going to do 20,000 stupid high spots that don't mean nothing. Potential to hurt yourself and not take care of yourself, because we do have that technology and education to protect yourself today. But do the young guys listen? Absolutely not. Do some take it for granted? Yes. Do they think when they break into a wrestling school and they're in their school, oh, that's it, I am ready for WWE? And I am the first one to tell you, you are 20 million miles away, because if a guy like myself who hasn't been in a ring and I see you and you think you're that good, and if I can go in there and I could friggin' out wrestle you without doing nothing, no training in wrestling, just on repetition because it's natural, then what does that say for you? I'm 53 years old. You ain't whipping my ass because I got that heart and integrity, but I know how to out wrestle you. You think you're going to outpower me? I'll let you use your muscle. I'll let you use your endurance. I'll let you use your stamina that you say you have. But at the end of the day, I'm going to be on top of you, and I'm not going to let you up. And then what happens? I'm going to rip your shirt off. I'm going to pink belly you. You're going to go to roll out. I'm going to pull you back in. The words I'm going to tell you, this is the best thing that ever happened in your life. You're going to learn a lesson. And then you're going to be humbled and say, man, I think I just went through the famous Big Vito Pepsi challenge. And by God, when you go through that, you know you've been schooled. That's when you take a different avenue and you look at wrestling in a different respect. Just like Vince Russo is doing this thing in where he's residing, and he's with an affiliation right now that's up and coming and has some opportunities. And for all the guys out there who listen to this podcast, guys, if I had the opportunity to come down there and be part of this group, your eyes would be wide open and you'd be like, oh my God, this is not real. And you'd be like, am I really want to do this? Is this going to be wrestling? Because when I bring something to the table, it's legit 101 wrestling. Everybody in the business knows it. Everybody in the business respects it. They might not like me. They could critique me. They could say stories about me. But when it comes to wrestling and knowing what I got to do, Vito Russo is a perfectionist. He knows repetition. He knows structure, how to get to where you got to go. And guys, this is what we're talking about today, because we're going to talk about WrestleMania. We're going to talk about other independent groups. We're going to talk about listening to somebody who's been there, done that. We're going to talk about a head writer who has the ideas and has done it. And when you go back and watch wrestling on what was good and what was not good, where do you go? Oh, you watch the old WCW that Vince Russo wrote, that everybody buries. Or you go watch the old WWF that Vince Russo wrote. Why? Because it's entertaining, because that was wrestling. That was when characters were developed and people were born and everybody knew what they were doing. When you look at today's wrestling and you see it flipping and flopping and making and doing, and nobody looks like a wrestler no more, you're like, okay, where the hell did the sport go? But if we could bring that back to what it was, guys, and you're willing to listen, you're good.
Vito, there's going to be two things that bring it back. I'll tell you right now. There are going to be two things that inevitably bring it back. Number one is the audience is going to continue to shrink. And, bro, let me tell you something. It's going to shrink at a faster pace because now there's nothing they haven't seen now. They can't possibly come up with any new moves or any dives or any. So the more, okay, we've seen that. What's next? What's next? What's next? And there's no what's next. The more and more and more people will begin to get bored with it. Number two, here's the second thing that's going to bring it back, bro. When people start dropping like flies. When people start getting injured, because now they got to raise the bar even higher, when people start getting injured one after another, dropping off like flies, then we're going to have to stop and look at the way we're working. And what are they going to look at, bro? They're going to look at the good old days when people barely got hurt, when there was psychology, when every move meant something, and that's what they're going to go back to. You know, Vito, I want to talk about a term, because I just spent 3 straight days with Rocky Mountain Pro. 3 straight days, bro. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. No, I'm sorry. Thursday, Friday, Saturday. 3 straight days. Thursday, I was at the school. I went to a small show on Friday, and we had our biggest show yesterday. 3 days I've been around this. Let me tell you the one word, Vito, that makes me want to vomit. You know what that is, bro?
Tell me.
When these young kids try to pass it off as the business has evolved, that makes me want to vomit. Because let me tell you something, bro. When I think of the word evolved, you know, something has evolved, I think of growth. I think of better. Something is now better. They took what they had and they made it better. They evolved it into the next form, but that form is better. I don't want to hear anything about evolution, because they didn't evolve shit. You know why, Vito? Because what they're doing is not professional wrestling. So they didn't evolve it. Now, if you want to say we changed it, we changed professional wrestling, then say you changed it. Because what you do, you take the psychology out of wrestling. You take the characters out of wrestling. You take the storyline out of wrestling. It's not wrestling. So don't tell me you evolved it. You didn't evolve anything. You didn't make the psychology better. You didn't make the characters better. You didn't make the storylines better. You eliminated you talk about foundation, Vito. They broke down the very foundation of professional wrestling. So don't give me this evolved shit. You changed it, bro. And if you changed it, then don't call it professional wrestling, because that's not what it is.
But Vince, the one thing you're missing here to tell these guys, and this is something everybody can understand here, okay? If you're telling me you evolved something, wouldn't you have to have experience in that thing?
Great point.
For it to have evolved.
Great point, Vito.
So how could you tell me? I got 26 years. I've been banging heads. I banged heads with the best, the biggest, the baddest guys in pro wrestling, and always had the mutual respect from everybody in the industry when it came to in-ring work. Okay, we're not talking about personalities, because everybody's personality is fickle. We're not talking about he did this, he did that, he liked me. But when it came to work and being in the business and doing your ring work, I put my ring work with anybody in the business, because the biggest, the best, the baddest always had respect for Vito LaGrasso. Now, can I say, well, I've evolved? No, I'd say the wrestling aspect has taken a step backwards from what it was, and it's not believable because the guys don't look believable. The bills are not believable. The moves are not believable. And when guys watch these, I'm not going to name the feds, but when they watch these feds that you're flipping, you're flopping, you're acrobatic, you're doing this, what happened to the days when a Bruiser Brody would hit you, a Stan Hansen would hit you, a Ric Flair in his heyday, a Hogan, Dr. D, David Schultz, Haku, the Barbarian, the Warlord, the Legion of Doom. Talking about guys, when they hit you, you think you were going to get up and pop up and do a flip? No, when these guys hit you, they hit you. How about wrestling a Kevin Nash who's 7 feet tall? How about wrestling Goldberg, who is a phenomenon, like an athlete? And when he came, okay, he might not have had the best finesse in the ring, but when you knew he was in there, you knew you were in there with Bill Goldberg. He was legit. And you want to put legit on stamp on legit? Tank Abbott was never the best wrestler, but because of his persona and knew who he was, He was considered a badass. And you know what? If things got choppy in the ring and if he wanted to, he would whoop your ass on TV without even blinking. That's a man who would go in the gym, and I seen it live, who would go in, put 525 on the bench, do 10 to 15 reps, and said his workout was done for the day. Cold. How do you deal with a man with that kind of power? And you say, okay, and he was a tough guy during the UFC days, just like a Ken Shamrock. Nobody might think Ken Shamrock today, but when you talk about Ken Shamrock in his heyday, or a Steve Blackman. Now, you work with Steve Blackman, right, Vince?
Oh, forget about it, bro.
And he was legit as they come.
Yeah.
I mean, Vince, and the believability and accountability of wrestlers today are not there. And everybody thinks it's selling merch, advertising themselves, thinking they're over, doing little click things or being in a club. I'm not knocking the guys who are doing it. I'm just saying what wrestling has become today, because the Bullet Club has become successful. The Too Sweet symbol, okay, that's still living.
Wait, but hold on. I'm going to stop you right there.
Good.
Because you made a statement. The Bullet Club has become successful. Okay? Successful to who, Vito? The Bullet
in selling their product.
But hold on. But the Bullet Club is successful to the market. You think you think casual wrestling fans have any clue who the Bullet Club is?
No, and I'm not trying to insult them. I'm trying to say
that's a fact. That's a fact, bro. It's not an insult. That's a fact.
I'm not burying and I'm not condoning, but for the way the business, I could say this, the way the business has evolved to social media and marketing, these guys have become successful in that area.
Okay, I agree with that. I agree with that.
Okay.
But they stay on not household names, bro.
No, they haven't had that kind of exposure. They haven't been on the main circuit TV. They haven't had a 2, 3, 4, 5-year run where you know who they are. They haven't had 20 years on TV where you could say, hey, that's X, Y, and Z.
Yeah. Well, you know, Vito, here's the thing that happened to me over the weekend. You know, we had a show and I write for Rocky Mountain Pro, and we just found out on Friday we're going to be on local TV starting in June, which is a huge thing. So now, like, I got to get these guys ready for TV. And what's happening, Vito, is I'm writing a television show. I'm writing a television show with characters and storylines and pacing and a beginning and a middle and an end. I'm writing a television show, okay? The problem is, bro, I'm working with a bunch of guys that just want to get their shit in. So when I write my television show, you have to tell your story in the ring. That's a big part of what I'm writing, the psychology of the story in the ring, the psychology between the characters. That's all part of it. Well, when I'm writing a show and you just want to get your shit in, now we're on two totally different pages, and what we have is an absolute cluster. And bro, you know, listen, they don't want to listen to the Vince Russos. They don't want to listen to the old guard, the old grizzly veterans. As one of the guys put it, you know, Al Snow doesn't know wrestling in 2018. So we don't know anything. But here's my question, Vito. Here's my question. If we don't know anything and they're so over and that style of wrestling is over, right, bro? If it's as over as they think it's over, why is Undertaker coming back to perform at WrestleMania? Why does Shane McMahon need to get in the ring at WrestleMania? Why does Triple H need to get in the ring at WrestleMania? Why does Ronda Rousey need to get in the ring at WrestleMania? Why does Kurt Angle need to come out of retirement at WrestleMania? Why does Stephanie McMahon need to wrestle at WrestleMania? If these guys are so over, why aren't Nakamura and AJ headlining WrestleMania? Why aren't Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn headlining WrestleMania? Why are they relying on the freaking old guard to get WrestleMania over. If today's style is the way to go and it's so over and this is what everybody wants, why is Stephanie and Triple H in a main event of WrestleMania?
You forgot one big name that they are catering to, and that's Brock Lesnar.
Exactly.
And he is the big daddy, and he's the big draw.
Why? I don't understand. If this style is so over and this is what everybody wants, why are all these guys, why do we have to pull shit out of our ass? Bleep that, Blaine. Why do we have to pull shit out of our ass to headline WrestleMania? I'm not talking about the second card, the second match from the bottom. I'm not talking about opening card. I'm not talking about the middle of the card. I'm talking about the main event spots. If this style is so over, why does Stephanie McMahon have to put on wrestling boots?
No, you're absolutely right. And I want to tell you something. Now, guys, here's something that was thrown around, Now, something we never seen. I know we never seen Cena and Undertaker, right? But before that, it was Cena and Hulk Hogan. And if Hulk Hogan was on a better playing field with the WWE, if he didn't have all these things going on, I bet dollars to donuts that Hulk Hogan and Cena would have a match at WrestleMania, because it's never been. And would the people tune in? You're absolutely right. Would they headline the card as a semi-main event? Hulk Hogan, John Cena? Are you kidding? The second coming of The Rock and Hogan before passing the torch. Not that Cena needs a torch passed, but be talking about the old guard and the young guard. Now you're talking, you got something I'd want to watch. Then if you really want to play the card, right? If Sting didn't get hurt, you'd have Sting Undertaker this year, right? So there's another one. You brought Bill Goldberg back out of retirement because business was down. He generated something on a minimum level. Not to say, I'm saying minimum of length of time, to where popularity was run. Bill Goldberg came in. He had a short run. Okay, Dave Bautista. If you brought Dave Bautista back for a short time, threw the title on him, let him do something, and let him go. Chris Jericho, who is not full-time, but when he comes back, he puts asses in the seats. The Rock, anytime he shows up, it's going to be a sellout. Why do they need these guys? Because these guys are the true performers that really know the business and are over with the crowd. Hey, if you were to tell me Trish Stratus is going to come back full time, would you tune into the women's division? Would you want to see it? And Lita and Ivory and a couple other ladies who could probably still go on a full-time basis, but they chose to step away from wrestling to live real life. Yes. But if you had these girls and all these performers come back for WrestleMania, why? All the work the guys are putting in all year. Well, you will use somebody like Russo. That guy went from the top. He dropped all the way to the bottom. He's got a halfway decent push going on right now, and they still won't give him the momentum to friggin' catapult into the top spot. There's a reason why. He's over. He looks like $1 million. He could be a wrecking machine. He's a great heel. But for some reason, they won't let him run with the ball, and they don't feel he's good. Nakamura and AJ Styles. Nakamura is only good if AJ Styles is in the ring with him. Put Nakamura in Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, and anybody on the mid-card level. You already seen him wrestle Orton. You really seen him do the same thing. So where is the value in that? Guys, it's who is over and who's going to be. Those are the people who've done it, people who have made money, the people who headline the cards. Go ahead, Vince.
It's funny, Vito, because when you look back at the Attitude Era, and I hate to bring it up, but I'm using it as an example. Well, when you look up at the Attitude Era, Vito, we never one time had to bring in the people before them because the current roster wasn't on. That never happened, bro. Never.
Staffed.
We never had to bring a Hogan in, or we never had to bring somebody from the past WWE. We never had to bring a Piper back, bro, because shoot, the numbers are down, man. We need to get it back up. We never had to bring a Honky Tonk Man in, or a Randy Savage before he passed away. We didn't have to do any of that stuff because the current roster was over. So that's what I don't understand. Everybody thinks this is the way to do it. We've evolved the business. This is what the people want. Bro, no problem. If this is what the people want, let's take Cena, Taker, Lesnar, Stephanie, Triple H, Rousey, Kurt Angle. Let's take them all out of WrestleMania then. Take them all out. Take them all out and just make WrestleMania what these wrestlers today actually have convinced themselves is over. And let's see what the casual audience says about WrestleMania. Now, don't get me wrong, Vito. They will sell it out, bro. Mickey Mouse could headline against Donald Duck, and they will sell out WrestleMania. These guys, there's nothing like their promotion, their advertising. They forget about it, bro. They've made WrestleMania a happening. I can't say enough good things about that. What they've done, bro, they've made it the Super Bowl. And it doesn't matter what the card is for them to sell out the event, because people come from all over the world to go to WrestleMania. They do it once a year. They're going to come from Japan. They're going to come from the UK. They're going to come from Australia. They're going to come from all over the world to attend that event. However, if they want to get the maximum capacity out of sales and people joining the network, and I think there's still a little bit of pay-per-view going on. If they want the maximum monetary profit, they've got to bring in the people, the wrestlers that people know. And until they can rely on the Nakamura's and the Sami Zayn's and the Baron Corbin's and the Finn Balor's, until they can rely on those guys, it's always going to be that way. And here's the bottom line. This is the bottom line. Vince McMahon has no confidence in those young guys. Zero. Zero, 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 zero. None.
Now, you have a situation where you actually do have the Balor Club, you have the Bullet Club, you have those two entities in the WWE. They've drawn nothing. They've done nothing. So when they're on the big stage, they don't look like the independent side of what they were. And when they come to the big leagues, their entity is very small. You look, I'll give you something great. Now, Vince, were you there when Matt Hardy was doing this Delete and Broken Hardy gimmick and all that other stuff? Were you there for that?
I was gone.
All right. Now, for the people watching this, now TNA has has had a little bit of success, a lot of downfall, never making it to the tippy top of the wrestling industry, but they survived. I mean, they did what they had to do. Would you say that their wrestling brand today is any good or anything significant? No. Is it an indie company with a TV spot? Yes. So, but when you look at what Matt Hardy did and Jeff Hardy did with this Broken Hardy thing, they came up with an idea. They ran with it. It was different. It evolved into something better than the Hardy Boys. Yes. So now they're bringing it to the WWE. When it first came out, the WWE tried to put their own spin on it, as everyone is seeing. And then now they're trying to bring it to where they're bringing it to what the Hardys had, going to their campground, bringing in all the characters, letting it evolve into something. If it goes, guys, hey, Matt Hardy, you're a genius. You did good. If it doesn't go, it's a failed venue to, like, okay, the independent world outside of WWE doesn't get over on the big screen. Not to say Matt is not over and Jeff is not over, but the idea to the bigger crowd is not what it is. It's independent wrestling. When you look at all the companies that are not WWE, it's independent wrestling. Same with NXT. NXT, everybody raves about until they get to the big leagues where they put on SmackDown and Raw. And then everybody sees it. The value goes down. The characters are watered down. It's not what it is. So that's why when you say NXT, NXT should be its own branch, its own company, and have its own mainstay guys. And if they develop that, guys, you'd see a different you'd have a different flavor. You'd have something else to watch. And if you put, I'm going to say this tonight, and I'm going to say it, if you can make NXT their own brand and keep the guys in NXT who have been there, done that, and you put it up against Monday Night Raw, I bet you NXT would outdraw the main roster.
Interesting.
I think it would, because like you said, not only has wrestling evolved, the fans have evolved to look at something different. They've been programmed because the old style is not there. But if you put NXT against Monday Night Raw, I think some people would get butthurt, and some people would really, really have to look at, say, all right, Triple H's vision is something to be reckoned with. And maybe whomever is writing the Raw, whether it's Vince McMahon or anybody else, they'd have to really see, has the wrestling industry evolved from the experience of Vince McMahon to the experience of Triple H and what he sees with the independent scene to make NXT. I say put them against each other and let it go. Now you have, because NXT could take the place of WCW. And then if you put Shane McMahon in charge as the figurehead of NXT, now you have McMahon versus McMahon. And what better way would it be? Because that's what everybody wanted. Everybody wanted Shane to have his own company. Am I not right in saying that, Vince?
Yeah, but it just, I don't think that would work, Vito, because everybody would know. It was like they were trying to, pair off Raw against SmackDown, like they were two separate companies and two separate brands, and everybody knew they were WWE owned. So, I think you would get the same impact with something like that.
Yeah, but imagine that if NXT actually went up against Monday Night Raw, Vince, what do you think the numbers would be? Would you think that they would draw equal to Raw?
I think they would, bro, because the average wrestling mark now they're smart marks, and smart marks would choose NXT over Raw, so they would jump from Raw to NXT, and therefore they may have a bigger audience. But I don't think the casual wrestling fans would give one crap about NXT.
Now, here's a good question for you. Would the NXT roster become bigger stars than the WWE Raw roster?
No.
You don't think so?
Because their audience would be the smart marks. To me, a big star is when you're in a Subway commercial. A big star is when no matter where you go, you're going to get mobbed. A big star is when you go to the airport, everybody knows who you are. That's a big star. They would not reach that level because of the presentation and the way they look and the size and the lack of character. They're not going to be appealing to the big casual television audience. So they'll be over to that niche, just like the WWE is over to that niche. But some of those fans from the WWE would probably jump to NXT.
No, agree.
Yeah. All right, bro, before we go on, let me tell everybody about Vinyl Me, please, man, because I love this sponsor. If you support me in this show, you need to support vinylmeplease.com. They have an album, a vinyl club, more or less. You could join by the month for $29, every 3 months for $27, or for the year for $25. Every month you get their record of the month, and that also includes shipping. Shipping for an album is at least anywhere from $5 to $10. That's included in the price, but you don't get any album. You get an album that's 180 gram. That's the best quality to give you the best sound possible. The albums themselves, bro, it's not your grandfather's black vinyl anymore. They come multicolored. I had the one the other day that looked like a freaking leopard. It's unbelievable. The packaging, bro, the album will come with original artwork just for that album. It'll come with a cocktail recipe tied into that album. And bro, here's the beauty. If you don't like their album of the month, there's 100 other albums you could choose from instead. In conjunction with that, bro, you don't even have to be a member if you want to buy albums from them. You could go to their store where they have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of titles, and they rotate those titles every month. So you're constantly going to get a new inventory. If you're a vinyl guy, and bro, listen, if you're not a vinyl guy, you can go out to freaking Best Buy tomorrow and buy a turntable for $100. Nothing sounds like vinyl. I don't want to hear about MP3, your freaking CDs, live streaming. I don't want to hear about any of that. There's nothing like the snap, crackle, and pop of a piece of vinyl. If you want to get into this, if you're already into it, check out vinylmeplease.com, and you could follow them on Twitter at vinylmeplease. All right, Vito. So I don't know, bro. After coming off of 3 days with the now generation, bro, they don't want to. Bro, listen, man. When we were younger and there was an elder, we listened to that elder, bro. And that's because that was the way we were raised. We were raised, respect your elder. As I got older, bro, I realized nobody had to tell me to respect my elders. They knew more than I did. They've been around longer. They've lived life. And nobody had to tell me once I got in my 20s, my 30s, my 40s, you got to respect your elders. No, bro, I respected my elders. You know why? Because they've been there and they done that, and they could save me a lot of headaches, bro, if I just picked their brain and I talked to them about life in general. Bro, not the case today. Not the case today. These young kids breaking in the business, these young kids that are already in the business, these young kids on the indie scene, these young kids in the WWE, bro, they know more about wrestling and about, you know, characters and storyline and matches. They know more about all that stuff than anybody with 20, 30, 40, 50 years of experience would ever know. Vito, as a writer, I used to look forward to, you know, working with the Pipers and working with the Savages and meeting the Ernie Ladds and meeting the Valiants and working with Dusty and working with Rick and, you know, working with Bill Watts and working with Jerry Jarrett. I used to look forward to that because I knew that they would bring knowledge to the table for me that I can look at, I can study, I can think about, I can weed it out, but they were just going to increase my vast knowledge of the business. Bro, today, I just experienced it for 3 days. When you tell them something they don't want to hear for their own good, bro, they shut you off. They are done with you, and they will go on to do it their way. And I think that's very, very unfortunate. And we could sit here and debate all day, but at the end of the day, all we really have to do is look at the numbers. All we really have to do is look at the popularity of wrestling, where it was and where it's gone, and that will tell you everything you need to know.
Now, Vince, here's something like, you know, I always was a firm believer in this, and like, you know, being that, like, you know, people, I might have an opportunity to help Vince and do something with him. And if I do it and I help him and you let him see his vision and instruct these young people, first thing you're going to do is, listen, there's one rule and there's one way to do things. Why do you think Vince McMahon, good, bad, or indifferent, has been in business all these years? So there's one way to do things. You're either going to do it my way, or you can go and buy a ticket to watch the show. You're either going to do it this way, or you could leave. You're indispensable, and I will take somebody who is raw and green. And if they listen to what I'm telling you, I will make them a star. I will make them into something, as long as they follow direction.
Time out, Vito. Remember where you are. Keep that spot. Vito, that's what Bill DeMott tried to do, and look what happened to Bill DeMott. They outvoted him, bro. They outvoted him. They got him out because he was too hard on them, bro. Look what they did to him, bro. They all teamed together. It was too tough. He was being too hard on them. Next thing you know, Bill DeMott who knows more about wrestling in one freaking pinky than the whole crew of them. Next thing you know, bro, Bill DeMott's on the outside looking in.
But now you're talking. Now Bill DeMott was building NXT and was building the developmentals, and he was doing a good job. You know, some of the things that he was, some of the things that came up in conversation, maybe some people agreed with, some people didn't agree with. But we both came from the same school. We all three came from the same school. There's one way to train. You train this way. And if people don't like this brand of training, then you know what, guys? Go to another place. Let them give you TV time. Go and pay for the training and then see how far you go. Because let me tell everybody something. If Vince Russo and Vito LaGrasso got together and we got to go and do this, between Vince's knowledge and my knowledge, and we actually started to produce wrestlers and wrestlers with credentials and credibility, you don't think NXT or the WWE is going to look at the product and say, hey, we might like these guys, but hell, they know what they're doing and they're doing a good job. We're going to pick up a few of their guys. And all it takes is for them to pick up one of our guys. What does that give us? Gives us credibility. And not to say you're going to advertise it, but it's knowing how to make the product believable and how to get a storyline over and making the wrestler look like a wrestler to where he can move on and increase his value and move up the ladder to be somebody in the business.
Yeah, Vito, we'll see what happens, bro. Because like I said, man, I'm spending a lot. You know, I'm not talking out of school, bro. I'm spending a lot of on hands time with this generation right now. And bro, I just don't know. Like I just don't know, because like I said, bro, here's what happens. They do all these things and people get used to seeing all these things, and everybody always wants to know what's next. So now what are they forced to do, bro? If they're not relying on character, if they're not relying on storyline, what are they forced to do? They're forced to lift the bar, bro. The more and more, Vito, they lift that bar, the more and more chance there is for injury. And here's the thing, Vito, that really breaks my heart. Do you know where my sermon comes from, Vito? Here's where my sermon comes from. This is the bottom line with me, bro. Vito, you suffered concussions. Okay, you can no longer make a living in the ring, wrestling actively as a wrestler.
Right.
Where I'm coming from, Vito, and you can say this better than anybody else. I've seen it. I've been around the block. You have a window to make money in this business. Here's the key. Stay healthy, be safe, prolong that window as long as you can. Otherwise, bro, you're going to be a 38, 48-year-old broken down wrestler, Randy the Ram, and you're going to wonder, okay, how am I going to make a living now? Bro, Vito, how real was the freaking wrestler? How real was it, bro, that this guy's body was broken down? He couldn't perform anymore on that level. He had to take these indie shots. He went in the ring, practically got himself killed in that one match. We saw the autograph signings with 5 people. That is real. That is real. That is what's at the end of the dream. So I'm here telling you, stay healthy, protect yourself, tone it down, be safe, rely on a character, rely on a story, because the more you kill yourself, your time of being productive is going like this. It's getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And like I said, all of a sudden, I'm 38 years old. I've had 10 concussions. The doctor won't clear me to wrestle. What am I going to do now? And I promise you, bro, a lot of the people that I'm talking about don't have the personality of a Daniel Bryant. Okay, that's a that's a case in its own, because the guy's got a great personality. He doesn't have to work. But a lot of people in that spot, bro, and that's the part that pisses me off, Vito. I could give 2 shits. If you want to go out in the ring and kill yourself, how does that affect me? It doesn't affect me one iota, but I hate to see it happen. I hate to see what happened to freaking Paige, bro. I've said it all along. Sasha Banks is going to be the next casualty. The stuff she's doing in that room, in that ring, she's going to be the next casualty. And at the end of the day, Vito, you were a casualty, bro. And you were safe. You were safe, Vito. Imagine if back in your day there was the reckless abandon there is today. Bro, you might be a vegetable right now.
Might be. Thank God I had a chin of granite, and I had a tough. Doctor told me, he says, Vito, you're a tough guy. You got a tough chin, but your brain is not tough. So what does that tell you? You could have everything is good and solid. You could be invincible, but when your brain gets scrambled up there and you're getting rocked around 5-6 nights a week, takes a toll on your body, guys, and you don't know it until afterwards. So everybody thinks they're doing these great spots in front of 40 people and getting paid $40. Think again, guys. It's not worth it.
Yep. All right, Vito, tell them everything. What's going on in your world, bro? What's happening with the Big Vito brand? Give us an update.
Well, the Big Vito brand has been looking to expand, and we're looking at some different avenues. We've been periscoping a little bit. Noel's show has been doing well. There might be some changes coming to that. We have the subscribers on the YouTube at the Big Vito brand, on Twitter at the Big Vito brand, on Facebook, the Big Vito brand. We have BigVito.com. We have all the affiliates. We got people coming in. You got merchandise for sale, ProWrestlingTees.com/the Big Vito brand. You got collar and elbow. Use the Big Vito code for 10% off. I have an Amazon list. If you're feeling giving, we don't accept money, but if you're going to send something, because we do this, like I said, we're not getting paid for this. We're doing this out of good, as a hobby. If you want to send something, there's appreciation. It's always appreciative, and follow.
Why did you change from the goodness of our heart to as a hobby? Because, bro, you are doing this out of the goodness of your heart. You aren't getting paid, and you don't have to be doing it. So why would you hesitate at saying that?
Well, I just try to change things up a little bit, because people might take it the wrong way, because everybody's got something to say on Twitter and everybody likes to say something. Yeah. But you know what? You can't please everybody. And if it wasn't for guys like myself or Vince Russo or my wife or a bunch of other podcasters out there, what would you have to complain about?
So, exactly, bro. Exactly.
And really, when you look at it, we're the reason you get up and you turn on the radio or your phone or you go to your computer just to listen, and then you complain on Twitter. So we give you something to do in your life, and you're welcome.
Yeah. All right. And also remember too, man, we're winding down on getting a free month. If you're not already a member of the brand, if you subscribe now, you go to russosbrand.com, subscribe to the Realm Network. You get your first month for free. You can hear Castrating the Marks. And I want to tell you, bro, we're going to be juggling some things, bro, and you're going to want to be a member of the Realm Network, and now's the time to take advantage. Get a free month, russosbrand.com. After that, bro, it's less than $1 a week. Get it now. Listen to Castratings this week because the window's getting shorter and shorter. Well, that is it, everybody. As you know, I will be back tomorrow. So for myself and Big Vito, we will see you next time. Same bat time, same bat channel.